I have been hanging to jump into season 3. I have so many cool topics that I've been banking up and some really incredible guest speakers that are going to be joining us this season. I have been actually working on some really big projects. One in particular, a huge project, which is my online school. This has been huge the last 8 months, and I've really had to have a sabbatical break with the podcast just so that I could get through some of this work. So I'm sure you understand, and I'm sure if you're enjoying these podcasts, you'll probably at some stage have a little look at some of my free masterclasses, and then maybe even possibly some of the short courses or even the signature course that I'm offering. I will pop in some more information about my courses later. I've got so much cool stuff to talk about. This particular season is going to be a little bit different to previous seasons 1 and 2. And there's going to be many different types of episodes, some on screen like I'm on here. Sometimes it's really nice to have that visual if we're having a really, really important, deep conversation. And sometimes I'm just going to literally pick up my mic and not have camera on. So there'll be also some non-visual podcasts coming up. And then of course, we're going to have some really incredible guest speakers. These guest speakers will be hand-picked. People that I think are going to be huge for my original idea with this podcast. It's to really bring new modalities in to help people understand how important self-healing is. And that's what season 3 is all about. It's all about learning more techniques, more distinctions, more things that we may not have known before to help us be our own healers. This is something I'm really passionate about if you haven't already figured that out. Season 3 is going to be really cool. I was just reflecting before I jumped on camera about how I'm now presenting season 3 and some of the subjects I want to talk about. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. Originally, the Healing Tree Hub wasn't even supposed to be a podcast. It was never something that I had any intention on doing. It was purely some recordings that I was making for my clients in between their sessions. And some of the channeled work that was coming through these client sessions was so detailed, and I could see the overwhelm in a lot of their faces. So I wanted to just have these little short segments. People started to really enjoy these, and they started sending them to their friend and their friend and their friend. And because it was a public podcast, it became a podcast. Now, the crazy thing is I was starting off with my mobile phone in the car, sometimes running off from my family on a Saturday or Sunday saying, I'm going to go get a coffee at Macca's, and recording myself on my phone. They were never supposed to be some sort of professional practice podcast, etc. But that's the way the cookie crumbled, and we're here now. So we're just going to keep rolling with this because I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know about you guys, and I've got so much more stuff to talk about. I think it's important to share this because I think it may help a few people out there, especially those in business or those sort of doubting themselves, etc. I had a really, really rough start of the year. I lost a couple of really good friends and it broke my heart. And no fault of anyone's. We just moved in our different ways and different frequencies and different changes. And I was a bit heartbroken and sort of lost my flow, lost my confidence a little. I think this is important because I think everyone goes through these stages at times where they start to really look within and go, who am I? What do I really want? What am I really interested in? What is it that I'm heading towards? You start questioning everything, and you realize that the things that got you excited in the past maybe aren't as exciting, or maybe you are no longer gelling with particular people. The frequency is just different now, or you've stepped into a different frequency, or they have, and you're just not finding that joy in the relationships anymore, and you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, this is a really, really tough thing, and I think it's a conversation that I would really love to have. I started this year with a bumpy ride, and it was just when you think that, you've really gone past some of your awakenings and you're really progressing and evolving and you've done majority of your dark healing and dark shadow work, boom, something comes and shows up in your life that makes you realize that there is a lot of layers that are covered, and we don't have to all jump into that straight away, but one layer at a time. It is incredible to see how much you can grow through those particular experiences. And I say this to people all the time. We can't grow, we can't evolve without really big challenges in our life. And if you think about it, Every time something big's happened in your life, every time something devastating, every time something has knocked your socks off in a bad way. If you're still here and you're listening to this podcast, it means that you made it. You got through it, but not only did you get through it, not only did you make it, but you have grown through it. You have evolved through it. You have become wiser through it. You're probably helping people through their own version of it. So I think this is a really, really important thing. Every challenge out there isn't trying to get us. The world and the universe doesn't work like that. And I want to remind you in this episode, because this is what I came out really with this strong understanding with after the beginning of the year's roller coaster. Everything that happens is happening for you. Everything. And I know that sounds really insensitive, and especially those of you that have just possibly lost loved ones or really had a challenging time. That's hard to swallow, that everything's happening for me. And I'm not saying everything happens for a reason. I'm saying everything happens for you. Now, this is truly, authentically, really thinking positively. And I had this conversation with one of my clients last night, actually, at our meditation class. And she said, look, Sarah, things have been really rough and tough, and I'm going through a bit of a hard time, but I'm thinking positive. I know I should be appreciative. I know I should be this and that. And I said, hang on. Is that really what you think positive thinking must be? Some sort of inauthentic breeze over, shove it down, don't think about it, don't consider it, don't acknowledge it. No, that's suppression. Real positive thinking is seeing that everything in this life that you are living, everything in this physical manifestation of a life is happening for you, because there'll be something there for you. There'll be some sort of, not so much lesson sometimes, but it's more the fact that there is an offering of evolution. We are spirits having a human experience, and we came here, we incarnated into this beautiful world to experience, evolve, grow. That was the purpose. That was the reason why we chose our parents, chose our platform, found these particular scenarios that we'll be putting ourselves into, and we grow from the challenge. Now, I love the analogy of a video game. So I usually use Mario Kart as the video game. Think of yourself as the avatar Mario in the game. You're not really Mario, you're actually the player using the controls, telling Mario where to go. And Mario is the character playing a game, and there's many challenges that Mario has to defeat before he can level up. He has to overcome that flower thing, I don't know what it's called. He has to go through tunnels and do all these things, and it's an exciting game. It's challenging, and there might be a few swear words along the way or difficulties, but it is a really exciting game. And every time he gets pulled back, just like an elastic band, he flings forward and he levels up. And next time, even if he does that level all over again, it's going to be quicker and faster, and he's going to be wiser for it. Now, there's no difference to what we're experiencing here. Times like I had in January, where I experienced loss and grief and sadness because of some circumstances that broke my heart. Well, I grew so much stronger through it. I realized some areas that really needed some attention and love within myself, some insecurities that I had. I realized that I had particular areas to grow in. And that was such a gift, because if I hadn't had that situation that really bumped me on my butt, I wouldn't have known, and I couldn't clean them up. I couldn't make sure that I was making sure my integrity was in place, making sure that I was being the best version of myself that I could possibly be. And it set me on this incredibly clear path of exactly where I want to go, not only in my career, but my family and my friends, and who I really want to be. And I love that. I love that I leveled up. And I love that I had that experience, as difficult as it was. Losing people in my life that I love dearly, it leveled me up, because I was able to really have a look, an uncomfortable look at my life, and go, that could be a bit cleaned up. I could definitely shave a little off that edge, and I could definitely improve in this area. Or, you know what, I really love this part about how I dealt with that situation. And I'm going to really make sure that I use that particular technique next time. So yeah, I'm back. Stronger than ever, actually. And my business is stronger than ever, and so much has been birthed from it. So it doesn't matter what the situation, guys. If something's thrown you down, or you're having some sort of identity crisis, or you're struggling with particular relationships in your life, like so many people this year are presenting with massive, big shifts in their life about who they are, what they are enjoying, what they want. In fact, I'm seeing it so often that I actually wrote a little blog post to my email list a couple of weeks ago, and it was called, "Are You Going Through the Dark Night of the Soul?" We'll talk about what that is in a second. I have never had so many people open an email. I've never seen so many people click and book an appointment immediately with me after reading that blog. And is that because I'm incredible at writing emails and incredible at marketing? Absolutely not. It is not my area of expertise at all. But I hit a nerve. I hit a space where there are so many people experiencing what we call the dark night of the soul at the moment. It is the rite of passage for many people that are going through their spiritual awakenings. And this particular season is going to be crafted and really carefully and lovingly directed in that space, regardless if you're in a wonderful place right now, if you're in an amazing space where you've really arrived somewhere, that's great, but this is still going to be helpful because you may need to assist someone that's going through the dark night of the soul. Seems you may have already gone through it if you're already in this wonderful space. And you may also have one of these experiences. Now, I can tell you now, I've been through the dark night of the soul. And I had no idea I was going through it. This is many, many years ago. And the dark night of the soul is, it's not a night. It's definitely not a night. It is years. And the only reason it's years for some people is because we don't know we're going through a dark night of the soul. We have no idea. It's part of the spiritual awakening. We have no idea what's happening to us when we're going through it. And that can really cause it to stretch out and a lot of resistance be built up around it and a lot of making yourself wrong around it, making yourself realize that you don't belong, etc., etc. And that will extend it out. So if you don't know you're going through a dark night of the soul, if you don't know this is happening to you, it'll just continue for quite some time. The good news is, if you are aware of what this rite of passage is during the awakening experience, it is short-lived. You're still going to go through some really difficult challenges with this new self-realization, self-awareness, part of the dark night of the soul, but having understanding and acceptance and acknowledgement, it is extraordinarily powerful. So when people know what's happening to them and can really understand that they're not alone and that this is temporary and it's not something that they have to fear, it tends to release and they seem to find the paths of least resistance. All right, so what is dark night of the soul? If you didn't receive my email, well, here it is, verbally. The dark night of the soul is a time in your life where nothing makes sense anymore. You may experience possible depression, clinical depression, anxiety. You may experience just what I like to call meh, and I'm ready to trademark that. It's this sense of meh, but not a good meh, like a meh. People don't know what they enjoy anymore. The things that used to excite them no longer excite them. The things that gave them joy don't give them joy anymore. It's almost like they've stepped out of who they were and stepped into someone else. And the people around them, the relationships that they're in, can really deteriorate around this time. It's huge. And I've been doing a lot of research and study with Eckhart Tolle, and I highly urge you to look at his work. He explains his dark night of the soul was a realization that he couldn't live with himself anymore. And if you are listening to this and you've found that there's been a point in your life where you don't want to live with yourself anymore, there is a really good chance you're going through this. And you don't have to be alone in this. You don't have to experience this by yourself. it's almost an awakening process. It's almost a stepping out of who you were and into who you need to be. This is the soul's way of nudging you, well, really shoving you, I should say, into this is no longer working for us. Can we please move forward and progress? That's the message that's trying to come through. So for example, if you're in a job that no longer serves you, the job will become almost unbearable. If it's too okay or nothing's bad enough, nothing will sort of move you or shove you out. But if it's really bad or the boss comes in and it becomes a really awful, difficult working experience, then it will push you out. You'll be like, I can't stand it anymore. I've got to leave. I've got to find another job. So it pushes you out. Or you might find that your marriage is, if it's not serving you, if it's not the right frequency, it will amp up and things will get a lot worse before they get better. And then you find that you have to make a choice, a real choice. And it's not just relationships and work, it will be all areas of your life. So it feels, and many people report, that it feels like their whole world is falling apart. But the truth is, it's not actually falling apart, it's falling open. It's allowing you to see what's already been there, that has always been. But now you have this ability to clear the rubble and rebuild new foundations where you can start to co-create your own life. And it ends up being wonderful. It ends up being incredible. But the dark night of the soul is not easy. It's one of the most difficult times of your life. But I think this is a really important message. If you do feel and experience this at some point, reach out. Reach out to your communities. Connect in with material that talks about dark night of the soul. I've actually been so motivated and so inspired by so many new clients coming in. And they're normies. What I mean by normies is people that aren't spiritual, aren't part of the community, aren't very conscious. And they're coming through my doors because their auntie or their cousin or Bob or Jane pushed them into seeing this weird lady in the middle of the country Wallen. And they rock up and they're in the middle of their spiritual awakening and they had no idea. And the light in their eyes and the, oh my gosh, aha moments that I'm seeing, it's unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this in all the years that I've been conscious and spiritual. I've never seen this many people spontaneously awakening and having no idea what's going on. So because of this, I've actually decided to start creating my own Dark Night of the Soul shadow work course. And it's online. It's going to be accessible to the whole world because this is so important, and that scares the crap out of me. I'm the girl that wants to make everyone happy. I want to make everyone smile. I have some really great techniques that I channel through that are really helping people in this space with their shadows. And that kind of makes me feel like I've got a bit of a responsibility to assist, guide, not advise, definitely not advise, but just listen, be, and provide really helpful techniques for people going through this, because there is a lot of different techniques that you can use with somatic healing approaches, with energy medicine, with chin down approaches that are really complementary with counseling, psychology, etc. And I don't want people constantly relying on other people. I really, as I mentioned before, this particular season is all about getting people to realize that they're their own healers. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. We went straight into the dark stuff. We went right into the most hardest subject, and now all the other episodes of this month is going to be really easy. In fact, next episode, I would love to talk about the now moment. And I know I'm a meditation teacher. I'm always talking about the now moment, the present moment. But I want to explain in this next episode why that is so important, especially going on from this conversation. Why the only time you'll ever experience peace is in this moment. So tune in next time, and I can't wait to hear your comments, see your likes. Please spread this podcast far and wide. Let it get out there to who it needs to get to. If you know someone that might be experiencing some really difficult times or could fall into this dark night of the soul category, please pass this podcast episode onto them. It might make a really big difference. Anyway, have a great week. Bye.